Well, hey, back Porch Review, Southtown Pastor folks. This is Nick. Welcome to a, special edition of this blog, book blog, whatever you want to call it. Although I say that, I feel like every one I have recorded so far has been a special edition, but this one is particularly special because right now I'm sitting on my balcony in my cruise ship cabin. My wife and I are on our way home from an Alaskan cruise. This is our first real vacation since the pandemic began a few years ago, so we're obviously really excited to have had this time to relax. But I know I mentioned in previous videos that my intention for most of the booktube part of this channel was to read theological works, Christian history works, pastoral works, those kind of things. But I also understand, and I mentioned this in kind of my recap video about a month or so ago, sometimes it's also good to read some good fiction, and I have been drawn to the classics lately, partly because I didn't read that many of them as a kid. And so I thought, you know what, I'm going to Alaska, I'm going to be on a boat, the ocean is going to be around me, and so maybe what I need to do is read some just good adventure fiction, right? And so I picked up a few books at a local used bookstore in Georgia before we flew to Anchorage to hop on this boat. And I realized I'd never read Captain's Courageous by Rudyard Kipling, so I read that over the course of the flight and the early days of the cruise. Right now I'm actually reading The Sea Wolf by Jack London because I'm in Alaska, right? You almost have to read Jack London when you go to Alaska, right? But Captain's Courageous was great. I really enjoyed it. I know when it was originally written, it was probably more of a kid's book or a young adult book than what we would consider YA fiction now, but it was wonderful. It follows a boy named Harvey, who is a rich little snot. He's on a boat to London with his mom, who kind of dotes on him a little bit, right? She is really pampering toward him, thinks he has a very delicate disposition, but he falls off the boat, and he's picked up by a shipping schooner and forced to work for like 8 to 10 months, which is something he had never been forced to do ever in his life. And so this mid-teenage boy is now working for his money that his rich father has just constantly been giving him. But as the book goes on, he befriends one of the other boys on the boat. His name is Dan, who is the son of the captain of the ship. And by the end of the book, he's a completely changed person, right? I mean, this adventure has grown him morally, it has grown him ethically, it has grown him as a human being. And so by the end of the book, he's actually learned the benefits of a good day's work, right? Which is something that I know, especially with the pandemic and being locked in our homes, we work from home now, but even myself, I love getting out in the yard and gardening and doing that kind of stuff, which is the other part of this channel, which by the time we get home, I should have some stuff growing. So I have some pre-gardening pictures and videos and that kind of stuff. I'm working on that video still, so hopefully we'll get that up in the next few weeks. But I thought, you know what? I'm on a boat. I'm going to be off the boat this time tomorrow. I need to maybe do a video since I read a book, right? So, again, Captain's Courageous, if you've never read it, highly recommend it. Anything by Rudyard Kipling is really worth reading. It is definitely a product of its time. There are some terms that are definitely no-no terms for us today in our society, right? They are not PC, especially of the cook on the boat. But at the same time, it is well written. It is definitely a product of its time, so when you read it, if you read it through the lenses of the time period in which it was written, which I believe, let's look here, it was originally published in the early 1900s, if not the late 1800s, so keep that in mind. Yeah, this is a different edition, so it only has that publication date. So, anyway, all that being said, oh, wait a minute, here we go, in the front, there is a little bio about Rudyard Kipling. This was published in 1897, so keep 1897 in mind if you read Captain's Courageous. This is an edition that was published in 1964. There are obviously prettier covers, if I'm being honest. This is not my favorite, but at the same time, I've been in Alaska all week and I've seen people that look like this. So, but all that being said, pick up Captain's Courageous, read it. If you like the channel, please like and subscribe, and share with your friends. And send me more recommendations on classics to read. I'd love to hear them. I'd love to know if you've read this book and your thoughts on it. So that's it for now. See you guys when I'm back in the lower 48, and take care.